Thank God. So let's begin with just a few preliminary comments. The media budget review would be read later today. We're expecting the finance minister to take the podium between 10 and 10:30 a.m. So right after the Super Morning Show, we'll cross over to Parliament. We know that you're not a stranger to economics in this country because of the role you played at the Senchi Dialogue a few years ago. But we just want to take a few general comments. What do you think about how the economy is being managed, particularly the question of taxes and how the taxes we must pay?
Well, I think it was a year ago. I read an article that quoted the Minister of Finance saying that less than 10% of Ghana's population were paying taxes, right? So that right there is the root of the problem. You know, do we have a wide enough tax net? And do we have a system of taxation that enables municipal government to tax people at a local level and use it for development at a community and local level so that people can see development around them? So I think this is something that is a work in progress, and it's going to take a while to get the country to everybody paying what they can towards the public good.
So you would subscribe to the argument of widening the tax net so that if maybe we go to Okaishi, we can get receipts for the things that we shop for, and the persons that we buy plantain from would pay their taxes on the plantain that they sell.
Yes, look, I was having a conversation with a friend just Saturday evening, and we were talking about, he reads a lot of history, and so we were talking about how taxation started in Europe. And when it started, you had this hierarchy. I mean, it was monarchies, right? So you had a hierarchy of royalty, dukes and earls and barons and so on, and of course the king. And they were taxing everybody at a local level, and then the taxes were sort of coming up the pyramid towards the center.
Okay.
And so I think having a system where there is very broad local taxation that is used for local development is very important. And you think about when we say local, what do we mean? You certainly mean municipal government. You're talking about the district assemblies. You're talking about the traditional rulers. They're closest to the people, and they have a mandate to help with development for their communities. And so if you have a taxation system that addresses the local level needs, that is going to enable you to broaden the tax net. And you're not trying to do it from the central government, from the GRA. You're doing it from authorities that are closer to the people and who have more accountability to the people.
And that's where one of the problems is, because development itself is not as decentralized as we would want it to be. The local authorities don't have as much control over the budgets as they would like to have. A lot of the procurement is done from the ministries here in Accra. How do you think that is contributing to the problem we have?
I think it's a very big contributor to the problems that we have. The more you diversify, the more you give authority to people who are closest to the problems, the more likely that those problems are going to be solved in a way that is satisfactory for people in those communities.
There's an element, and I know this is not supposed to be an economic conversation, but it's getting a bit interesting. I want to read a couple of comments to you for you to get a sort of a feel of how my listeners are thinking this morning.
Okay.
And this one says, Daniel, unless President Akufo-Addo rescinds his decision to appoint Kwame Owusu as GRA boss, I won't pay taxes. This is coming from David. Now, Kwame Owusu, for the listeners who may not know, is the former Ghana Maritime Authority boss who was under investigation after it came out that there was some conflict of interest issues with how he was dealing with issues at Ghana Maritime Authority. Then this one says, Mustafa from Tamale, Daniel, why should I pay tax when I know that politicians will share it among themselves and you can't even question how they spend it? I'm going to read just one more. Daniel, why do I need to pay tax for it to be spent on incidentals? Incidentals is the $42,000 revenue line, the budget line in the AFCON budget, the Africa Cup of Nations budget, where, of course, unforeseen circumstances or incidentals accounts for $42,000. So there's a question of how people question integrity of leadership. And because of that, it's easy to justify their non-compliance. What do you make of that?
Well, look, I think that the law is the law, right? And so we're all bound to pay taxes. And I certainly don't subscribe to the idea that I can get up and say, oh, because so-and-so is appointed, I'm not going to pay taxes and I'm going to break the law, right? So I think that that kind of argument we've got to be careful about. I think the more interesting question is when people think that they're paying taxes and it's going to be used by some remote government officials for their own ends in a way that doesn't benefit them directly. That is a legitimate concern, and that's something that every government should pay attention to. But I'll come back to this idea that if you have local taxation and you have funds that are reserved for local government to execute projects for people close to them, because those people, if you're in Brekusu, you are closer to the chief of Brekusu and you're closer to the district chief executive. And if the district chief executive is not, executing his or her mandate, you're closer to that person, and you can complain, and you can you can elect another person in the future for district chief executive, or recommend that somebody else be elected. And in this way, you have more accountability. In the same way, the district chief executive knows everybody in the community. They know who is earning what. They know who is spending lots of money on funeral cloth and other things. And they have a better sense of who can pay local taxes for local development. And this is why there needs to be some work done to really strengthen the local taxation and local projects in the country.
Thank you very much, Patrick Awuah. He's the founder and president of Ashesi University. He's an educator, but this morning we've made him into a bit of a street economist. I hope Patrick doesn't mind at all.
I don't mind. That's all good.
So we'll just take a few messages, and when we come back, we'll come to Patrick's forte, which is education. So we've seen a lot of innovation. We've seen a lot of new policies in the education space. There's free SHS, there's double track, there's a new curriculum, and there's, of course, the Public Universities Bill. A lot is happening in the education space, a lot of buzz. What is it achieving? What should we expect from it? What should we do if we want to produce graduates who can compete on the global scale? That's the conversation we are having with Patrick Awuah when we come back. Stay with us.
So you wanted that weave, that one that's so long it touches your toes. Got it. A disco light for the room when the sweetheart comes over. Swoon your matrona. Bagged it. Those chrome spinning wheels that will have people at church praying to be you. But them. Now, how about those mega woofers that will wake up the whole neighborhood? Ordered. Because you've got the card that makes it all possible.
You don't need a bank account to spoil yourself. You can now securely load funds for travel, pay for goods and services online and at your favorite shop, or give your loved ones unending spending options or possibilities with a perfect gift card. Get a Cowbank prepaid card now, because you can.
Cowbank, forward together.
Scratch up. Win 'em. Scratch up. Win 'em.
Today be
Scratch
today.
up.
Malcolm turned 30 years for
Scratch
Ghana,
up.
so they splash plenty 30 things.
Plenty 30?
Every 100 Ghana you spend for Malcolm fee win 300 things.
300.
TV,
30.
fridge,
30.
motorcycle.
30.
You feel winner win Renault car.
30.
Malcolm Big
Win 'em.
30.
Scratch up. Win 'em. Scratch up. Win 'em. Scratch
Get
up.
a scratch card for
Win 'em.
every 100 CDs
Scratch
spent
up.
at any Malcolm shop across the country.
Scratch up.
Follow the instructions to win an amazing Malcolm Big 30 prize every week. Malcolm Big 30 Scratch and Win 'em starts from 1st July until 31st August 2019.
I go win today for Tamale, make my sister win for Kumasi, then Sansu again can win more for Accra. Today be today.
Scratch up. Win 'em.
Keep your winning scratch card. Samsung, platinum sponsor of Malcolm Big 30. Terms and conditions apply.
Scratch up. Win 'em.
A great journey lies ahead of us all, but we all have different paths carved out for us. When choosing your path, make sure you choose a partner you can trust, a partner with integrity who will always stand with you and give you the support you need when you need it. No matter who you are and where you are in your journey in life, you are very significant, and so is the path you're on. Consolidated Bank Ghana cherishes financial security as much as you do and shares the same values as you, and that is why we are the right financial partner to stand with you. We are now one of the largest banks in Ghana, and we are ready to partner and work with you. CBG, we stand with you.
I had some you sumi mumu. If you say MTN Echimachedia at the table, brand new Samsung 65-inch UHD Smart TV. Now brand new 2019 Hyundai and I feel 3,000 Ghana dear. You should say mono. MTN Momo. Still Misaka, the journey of 1,000 smiles. Yashasya 10 years ago. And to celebrate this milestone, MTN give you away exciting prizes in the MTN Momo at 10 promo. Yeah, you use Momo no. You could win one of the 2019 Hyundai i10 cars. Yes, some or Samsung Smart TVs for baby. And they up to 3,000 cedis e-cash every month. And a grand prize, 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe in the MTN Momo at 10 promo. Into signing on and they keep using your MTN Momo. Now when you big, if it's happening, you see August every year. Only on Ghana's best network. Dial *120#. Now check your points. Terms and conditions apply. Just Momo it. We're there for you everywhere you go.
10 years later, I'm just looking back and thinking to myself, you know what? It wasn't that bad. If I was to go back to school, I would have studied harder in maths. So I wouldn't have to pay these accountants by the hour just to calculate my tax. If I was to go back to school, I would have revised for my sats.
Why didn't you revise?
So I wouldn't always be the most clever person amongst all the people where I sat.
Why don't boys revise?
If I were to go back to school, believe me, I would have ran back. Cause even though we weren't cool, when I saw them robbing Jason, I should have had his back.
Yeah, you should have had his
if
back.
I were to go back to school, I wouldn't have a tool in my rucksack.
I never heard it.
Imagine I was forced to use it. 2 lives would be ruined and that would be that. That would be your rap. See, school was cool, class was boring. School was cool, class was boring. School was cool.
That's Sway's remake of the Asem song. We know it's at school they be.
School was cool.
Sway says school is school.
School was cool, class was boring.
8 minutes to the top of the hour on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Daniel Dazi. Our guest this morning is Patrick Awuah, founder and president of Ashesi University. One man who arguably revolutionized tertiary education in the country, particularly how we think about it. We'll be comparing some of his philosophies and his thoughts to our education system as a country to see where we are going.
To school.
That's today's agenda. Is brought to you by Societe Generale. MTN Momo is celebrating 10 years of making life simple by giving away 10 brand new Hyundai cars in the MTN Momo at 10 promo. And for the month of June, Rebecca Quay was the lucky winner of the Hyundai Grand i10 2019. So keep using your MTN Momo accounts to build points and win exciting prizes like Samsung Smart TVs, up to 3,000 Ghana cedis in e-cash, or one of the brand new Hyundai cars, including the all-new 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe, from now till the end of August. Remember, promo winners will only be called with 024 for 300,000 to redeem their prizes. Dial *120# to check your points. Terms and conditions apply. Go on, just Momo it. We day for you everywhere you go.
Secondary.
A few comments, however, on some of the things that Patrick said earlier. Daniel, I agree that the law is the law, but how can it be a law if the person who made the law is violating the law and is not accountable? The followers look up to the leaders.
That's what I used to think before. You see, school is cool.
Sorry, Daniel, but is this gentleman saying there's a law governing how the government spends and accounts for our taxes? Yes, it's called the Public Financial Management Act. Are they careful with how they do the above? So why does he want citizens to be careful with saying we won't pay taxes because of the law? If the law won't punish them, why should it punish the citizens? They're not being very, very popular this morning. Hello, Daniel. Good morning. Please ask Mr. Awuah for me why tuition is expensive at Ashesi. How do the ordinary Ghanaian parents send their wards there? It's a question that I'm sure you've heard a lot, and we'll try and get to the bottom of it. I must be honest, I admire Ashesi so much, but please create opportunities for the ordinary Ghanaian class. And as it is now, they are in a class of their own. Mame. Okay. All right, then. So let's get to the conversation. We'll come to some of these questions about Ashesi specific later in the conversation, but let's talk about Ghana first. So I want us to start in this way. When you see a graduate coming from senior high school in Ghana, what is wrong? And what do you often do to try and correct that which is wrong?
Okay, so Daniel, I'm going to answer in two ways. Well, the first is I'll answer directly that when we enroll students who've just completed senior high school, there's a lot of work that we have to do in terms of their writing skills. For some students, we have to do a lot of work in mathematics. Okay, and then for most of them, you know, they've come from a system of rote learning, and so we have to break them out of the mold and get them into a mode of creativity and problem solving. Discussion and debate. Okay, but the second part of my answer to your question is that we find that the students who come from senior high to Ashesi are really bright individuals. They're very bright students, and so they are able to sort of overcome whatever gaps that they may have had coming in, and they really excel. And I feel a bit of discomfort with the question about what are the deficiencies, because if you go around the country and you go to, you know, the public basic schools and you ask them, how is it that you're producing students where so many of them are failing the BECE? And the answer they'll give you is that, well, they come from families that are not literate, their parents are not helping them, so we have weak students coming in, we have weak output. If you go to the senior high schools and you ask them, how come, you know, only 25% of your students are getting qualifying grades for university? They'll say, well, you know, the students coming out of the basic educational system were weak, and so we have weak students in, weak students out. And if you go to the universities, you hear the same story, right? So we've sort of, by asking this question, and the answer that you hear everywhere, we're basically making excuses, and we are completely ignoring the simple fact that these kids are bright, that it is our responsibility, regardless of what level they were at when they came into our institution, it is our responsibility to close whatever gaps there are there and produce a good output. And that certainly is our sort of perspective and our philosophy at Ashesi, that if you've made it in here, you qualify to be in here, and it is our job to get you to a point where you will stand shoulder to shoulder with any of your peers from anywhere in the world.
So from what I'm understanding you to say, the responsibility lies with the educators.
That's correct.
What are they not doing?
Well, I think very fundamentally, educators are not really doing a deep analysis of what the problems are and coming up with solutions, right? So there's clearly some systemic failure happening. And when you have a systemic failure, you have to address it at a systems level. And that means that you need to spend some time and really analyze and understand what's going on. You need to look at the solution space. And there's going to be many different possible solutions. And if you're not sure, you have to start trial and error, experimenting for a solution until you find the right one, if you're not sure. But, you know, typically if you spend the time to really analyze what's going on, you will come up with decent solutions and solve the problem. And I think what is happening is people in charge have just accepted the status quo. The people who've just sort of accepted that, a large proportion of our students will fail their BECE, 75% will fail the WASI. They just accept it, and they shouldn't.
Patrick Awuah is our guest this morning. He is founder and president of Ashesi University, and he's talking to us about how it's important for us to deeply analyze the problems that we face when we are educating our young people and come out with a solution out of those. He's talked about how the focus at a university like his is that the students are bright. It's our responsibility to make sure that they can compete globally. And that sort of mindset among the educators is what is missing in the institutions they attend before they come there.
That's correct. And by the way, I will add that, we actually try to live what I'm just describing. Once a year at Ashesi, my entire team goes through a process of writing up what we call failure reports, right? So, every year you sort of go through these motions of figuring out what you did right, what you didn't do right, and so on. We have another category of things where we say, are there any errors that are happening that are either very serious errors or they are systematic, they're repeating, right? And every department takes the time to figure out, do we have any such errors? And if they find any, they write up about what the errors are, what caused those errors, and what the solutions might be for the following year. And then we all meet as head of departments, and we freely share what our error reports are with each other. We get feedback from each other, and we come up with solutions to those systemic errors. And so the next year we're going to get better, right? I think there needs to be that kind of a
continuous improvement,
and really a desire to do that. And it requires an environment where it is okay to admit your failure. That it truly is okay. You're not going to be penalized for identifying something that went wrong in your department, but actually you're going to be praised and supported for identifying that problem and coming up with a solution to that problem.
Okay, so that's even great for any organization at all, not just educators. So we would we'll hear the Joy Business Minutes now and take just a few more messages. And when we come back, we'll look at maybe some of the more specific solutions that have been proffered, and when it comes to our education policy, and we'll have a frank conversation about whether or not that's the direction we should have gone in the first place, and if it worked. So we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hello, it's Daryl and Karen with the Joy Business Minute.
Today, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta would be seeking approval to introduce new taxes when he appears before Parliament to present the mid-year review and supplementary budget.
Ken Ofori-Atta is expected to ask for an increase in government spending limits for this year. Parliament last year approved over 78.7 billion cedis as appropriation for the Finance Minister for this year.
There are indications that the luxury tax on vehicles will not be scrapped. However, former Finance Minister Seth Terkper does not agree with the move. He says there is enough punitive tax in the import levy build-up.
Meanwhile, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has threatened to take stringent measures, including demonstrating should government announce an increment in taxes on petroleum products. There are also speculations about a possible hike in mobile taxes.
We'll bring you live coverage of the presentation by the Finance Minister.
Keep your dials here on Joy 99.7 FM.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Greater Works 2019. Bishop Tudor Bismarck.
As an African, we've been in the fire. We've been brutalized. We've been broken. But we've been getting stronger and stronger.
Pastor Matthew Washimolo.
I prophesy the kind of people who will come into your life will change your level. They will change your thinking. They will change your story.
Bishop Mike Okonkwo.
Your story will never end in shame. It will never end in disgrace. This is your time. This is your time. Greater Works, this is your time.
Conference host, Pastor Mensa Otabi.
We bless the land. We bless the people of the land. We bless the work of the people. We bless the leaders with wisdom. We bless nations by the hand of the Lord.
Song ministration, Nathaniel Bassett, Intokozo Mbambo, Mahalia Buchanan, Joe Metal, Koda, Lumina, and Accra Symphony Orchestra. Date, Monday 29th July to Friday 2nd August. Evening sessions, Independence Square, Accra. Morning sessions, ICGC Christ Temple, Abosilkai. Greater Works 2019. Bigger, better, and greater.
My name is Juliana Obu. My husband was a teacher in Awuah in the Ayenswano district. He was killed by a bus whilst he rode his motorbike to school one morning. He left me and our 3 children so suddenly. I received an amount of 18,000 Ghana cedis from the GSSIC Life policy to help me get back on my feet and expand my trading business to take care of my children.
The GSSIC Life Insurance Policy eases the stress and burden of a teacher's family should the unforeseen happen. Call 0501 694554 or log on siclife-gh.com. SIC Life, absolute peace of mind.
SIC Life.
To handle fire caused by LPG, take the following steps. If possible, turn off the regulator on the cylinder to stop the gas from causing more fire. Immediately, call the fire service. Do not try putting out LPG fire with water. Instead, use fire extinguisher. Children should immediately call for help when they smell gas or notice a fire. Remember, never place a cylinder to a source of heat or use a stone to stop a leaking cylinder. A message from the National Petroleum Authority.
Amplify petroleum gas. Amplify petroleum gas. Use it safely and wisely for yourself. Super Morning Show.
7 minutes past 9 on your Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Thank you very much for staying with us. My name is Daniel Daze. We are here in the studio with Patrick Awuah, who is the founder and president of Ashesi University. We started off by talking a bit about the economy and why we should all pay our taxes, but we've descended into the real grit of the issues, which is education. And the first question that Patrick answered really took us to a different way of thinking, that we should be looking at these young people and looking at, okay, they are bright. We should be encouraging them to pass. And we should be looking at managing our institutions in such a way that they encourage to pass. Now, someone sent a message. He says, I think our level of foundation is not too good. Some students in SHS can't even read. Those who read don't understand what they read. It's a very key question. 98% of public school children, according to the National Education Assessments done by the GES, can't recognize a 4-letter word. When I saw that, I almost died.
Yeah.
So when it comes to continuous improvement,
right,
and how the failure of even a student can even be called the failure of a lecturer. Someone we're having a conversation with mentioned how in law school, for instance, 91% of people who write the entrance exam to the Ghana School of Law fail on the average every year. Against the backdrop of us having a little under 4,000 lawyers in the country for 29.3 million people. So in a system like that, is it that the exam is set up to fail people? Like, what do you think about what is going on when it comes to our legal education in the country?
Well, I don't know exactly what's going on at the law school, but I can tell you that what we should all expect to see is a normal curve, a normal distribution, where you have a small number of people failing, absolutely, a small number of people doing extremely well, and then there's a curve in between. There's some average that most people are clustering around. So when you see a result that says 10% pass and 90% fail, that is an indicator that there's something wrong at that institution. And we should not jump to an answer that says the thing that's wrong is that the students are no good. And especially because we all know that to get into the law school is a highly competitive process.
Mm-hmm.
So chances are they are actually enrolling the brightest kids or the brightest young people into the law school to begin with from among their peers. And it should be treated as a failure of the institution, not a failure of the students. And, really try to determine what's gone wrong there, what's happening with the faculty, what's happening with the management of the institution, and including also, obviously, what's happening with the students. Are they studying? What else are they going? But you have to do a whole system analysis of what's going wrong.
So those are some of the questions that come up when we are talking about universities even, and the questions that they answer. But let's also go to some of the policies that have been introduced earlier, like your free SHS, which is addressing access. We're supposed to talk about access, equity, and quality.
Right.
Do you think that it has sufficiently addressed all these sectors of the education policy?
I think it's a work in progress, right? So I just read an article that quoted the Minister of Education saying that since the free SHS policy was implemented, the enrollment in senior high school has grown by 43%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 43% is significant because what that tells you in just a couple of years, right? So 2 years ago, those 43% were getting the worst high school education possible, which is none at all. And now they're getting something, right? So having access is a good thing, and having a plan and a pathway to get to a point where the entire population is getting a minimum of a senior high school education is an incredibly important thing for one simple reason. The most important natural resources in this country, as with any other country, is human capital, right? That is far more important than oil or gold or cocoa or any other natural resource we have. The most important natural resource that we have is the human intellect. And we need to develop that human intellect with more seriousness than we develop oil fields or cocoa farms, right? And having a whole lot of kids not even get the education clearly is not the way to do that. So access is important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've done increased access before with the basic educational system.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did it then, one of the means that they used was they actually split the school day into two, and you had a morning group and an afternoon group, so that you had 100% access, but the kids were learning half as much, or were getting half as much time in front of a teacher, right? Now, with the free SHS policy, in trying to address this conundrum, instead of splitting the school day into the two tracks, what they did was they split the year into the two tracks, so that you actually have buildings in use all year round. You have infrastructure in use all year round. And most importantly, you have students not shortchanged in terms of time in front of teachers, which is a very good thing. Certainly a much better approach than when we did full access for primary education. Now, a lot more needs to happen. Just sweating your assets, if you will, that's what I call it, using all your assets all the time, is one thing and a very good thing to do because it's efficient, right? It increases efficiency. But you also need to hire more teachers. You need to buy more books. You need to buy more supplies for the schools. There's a whole lot more that goes into, making sure that kids are getting a high quality education. You need to review curriculum. You need to crucially look at the question of teaching philosophy and teaching approach, right? Because clearly what's happening in terms of the approach of teaching is not delivering the results that we want.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to go back to the teacher training colleges, the education departments in the major universities like UEW and UCC, and find out what are they doing that is producing teachers who are unable to educate our students the way we need them to do. And we need to take corrective action there.
Okay.
Right? Now, all of this is going to take time, right? So, so I guess the long and short is, I think that, getting access is important. It's a good thing that the government has embarked on it, but there's a whole sort of logistics around actually getting it right that they need to pay a lot of attention to make sure that we don't suffer in terms of quality.
Did we rush this policy?
Okay, so did we rush this policy? It's moved very quickly, right? And, clearly the president is in a hurry to educate as many Ghanaians as quickly as possible. When you listen to him speak, this is sort of an urgent matter for him, right? And because it is an urgent matter for the president of the country, it has been expedited. And when you expedite things, you're going to have some teething problems. You're going to make some mistakes along the way. And what we need is to make sure that addressing those teething problems is also addressed with the same level of urgency, right?
I'm asking this because one of the questions that has come up is how much we are spending on it. We realize now that we are spending about 92% of the ABFA allocation to education on free SHS, which is a recurrent expenditure. It is not like you're building a house and then later you just maintain it. It's something that you keep spending the same amount every year. People have raised questions that we should have developed a way of determining who should benefit from the system and paying for those people only, so that we can free financial space to invest in the same education sector.
That's what I would have done. I mean, and that's what I do at Ashesi. We have students whose families clearly can afford to pay, and we ask them to pay. But we also have a quarter of our students pay zero. They pay nothing to be there. And we have another 20-25% who pay partial fees, right? So we've done the work to figure out who can afford and who cannot. The recurring expenditure of free senior high school can be affordable depending on how you roll it out. So if we roll out senior high school and say they're all going to be boarding schools, and they're all going to be big schools that are far removed from communities, that is going to be a massive cost to the government. And I don't know of any country that has free boarding school system for all citizens. I don't. So what needs to happen is that new schools as they're being built should be smaller. They should be closer to communities, right? So wherever you have a public junior high school, you should have a public senior high school right next to it. So and those should be day schools, so that the kids are still at home. They're within walking distance or a very short ride to school, and the state is not having to bear the cost of housing and feeding and maintaining of all that infrastructure, right? And so I think that moving forward on a per capita basis, depending on how they go about building the new schools, it can be more affordable for the government.
MyJoyOnline.com, 2nd March 2018. Scrap boarding system. It's not sustainable. Prof. Amatedu.
No sudden moves, right? So the boarding schools that you currently have should keep running, but the new schools that you're building should all be day schools. I think, I get a bit uncomfortable with major sudden moves, right? Okay. So you have a system in place, keep it running, and then build out the rest of what you need. And then you can make a decision about how you sort of restructure the boarding schools that you currently have.
Do you think free SHS was a major sudden move?
Yes. I mean, obviously, it happened when President Akufo-Addo became president, and it was something that he cares deeply about and wanted to make happen in his first term, and he's made it happen. He promised it to the citizens of Ghana. They voted for him, and he's made it happen very quickly. And so now I think that what we need to do is Ghana Education Service, all the citizens of Ghana, all of us should be sort of looking at this as something that we execute with excellence and we execute with intent to succeed, right? And stop the arguing about it. I mean, right now the focus should be how do we make it work, and how do we make it work extremely well.
Stop the arguing about it. I'm writing that down. Patrick, where is my guest this morning? 21 minutes past 9. It's the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. So we've talked a bit about, general education policy. We've zoned in a bit on free SHS. I want us to talk a bit about the Public Universities Bill. So this new bill, if it's passed as it is now, because we know it's still under deliberation, it gives the president the authority to appoint the majority of members on university governing councils. And some faculty members in the universities have said that it then cedes ownership of the schools back to government, and it's an attack on academic freedom. I want you to address that thought for me in just a moment, but I'll be right back after these messages to get that answer to the question. Stay with us. This is the Super Morning Show.
At Afrodan, we believe that many of the problems people have with their health is as a result of the way they sit. In other words, your chair can kill you. Here's Dr. Marcus Mann of the Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
What you have to remember is that the spine is the lifeline to your body, and posture is the window to that spine. Now, posture is affected by your daily activities and habits like sitting. That's why at the Chiropractic and Wellness Centers, we recommend what I believe to be the best chairs available for preventing not only subluxations, but also other health problems that you may not be aware of. And that's Rabami and Mobilex chairs. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, I have to correct the effects of this poor sitting habit in our businessmen and businesswomen. Always remember, optimal spine equals optimum health.
So, for the sake of your health, buy Rabami or Mobilex chairs from Afrodan. We're on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Telephone 663-085.
Think about the generations and to say we want to make it a better place.
Everyone deserves a chance at a good education. With the Republic Bank Back to School loan, your dreams of a good education is guaranteed. Come to Republic Bank and get the Back to School loan. We care about you and your child's education. Apply now for the Republic Bank Back to School loan and enjoy a stress-free loan with super low interest rates. Visit any of our branches or republicghana.com or call or WhatsApp 055-654-3212. Terms and conditions apply. Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Charlie,
your office they shine, oh.
Yes, so I tell you say for proper and modern ceiling solutions, the answer be Interface Limited. Them get in stock acoustic ceilings where you go fit make your office fine like my own.
Or even better pass your own self.
We can better pass my own.
Shall I go Interface right now?
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274-999999 or visit our website at www.interfacelimited.com.
Helping you grow. Do you have challenges transferring money to your friends or customers with accounts at other banks? Are you worried at the delays with other banks' checks you deposit into your account? Do you have challenges paying your workers or suppliers instantly across banks? You don't need to wait for 2 days anymore. Walk into any ADB branch today and send your money instantly to any account in Ghana, or link ADB Instant Pay to your accounting software for all salaries and payments. You can also access ADB Instant Pay service on our mobile banking app, internet banking, and *767#. ADB, truly a Greek and more.
Are you looking for a solid and reliable UPS for your home or office? Look no further. The Solatec Ultima UPS is ideal for computers, TV, printers, and fax machines. It ranges from 650 VA to 2000 VA. For mission-critical devices such as sensitive networks, computer centers, servers, telecom, and industrial applications, the Solatec Maxima UPS comes highly recommended. It comes in 3 kVA and 6 kVA models. Custom sizes can be manufactured on request. Beware of counterfeit Solatec products. Purchase your original Solatec at our Abelimpe office or at any of our authorized dealers across the country. We offer after-sales service and 2 years warranty. Visit our office at number 10 Yiwa Street, Abelimpe, or call us on 0302-761-450 or 0302-775-106. Remember, stay original. Buy Solatec. Solatec, the power to protect.
Daddy, I bet you enjoyed your trip abroad.
Oh, yes. It was worth every peso. And the experience was breathtaking. The beautiful environment, the culture, and the food. Oh, my. Until I got terribly sick.
Perhaps from eating too many new dishes.
But you know, thanks to my Glyco travel insurance policy, all my medical bills were paid for the 3 days that I was on admission.
Really? Glyco travel insurance policy?
Yes, my dear. Glyco travel insurance is the best. Look, it covers medical and emergency services, personal assistance services, emergency return home, personal liability such as legal defense fee, loss of baggage, personal accidents, trip cancellation, or even delayed departure. And even these are the ones I remember off my head. Yes, Glyco Travel Insurance has a worldwide cover and widely accepted by embassies, both Shenzhen and non-Shenzhen. Visit any of our Glyco offices nationwide or call 020-422-113 or 055-5305-547 for ready assistance from our experienced support team. Be safe, travel protected, and have a peace of mind. Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Derek Andrew Sappho, 10 years later, I'm just looking back and thinking to myself, you know what? It wasn't that bad. If I was to go back to school, I would have studied harder in maths. So I wouldn't have to pay these accountants by the hour just to calculate my tax. If I was to go back to school, I would have revised for my SATs. So I wouldn't always be the most clever person amongst all the people where I sat. If I were to go back to school, believe me, I would have ran back. Cause even though we weren't cool, when I saw them robbing Jason, I should have had his back. If I were to go back to school, I wouldn't have a tool in my rucksack. Imagine I was forced to use it. 2 lives would be ruined and that would be that. That would be a rap. See, school was cool, class was boring. School was cool, class was boring. School was cool, class was boring. That's what I used to think before. You see, school was cool, but class was boring. School was cool, but class was boring. school is cool.
29 minutes past 9.
That's what
Pardon me. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Daniel Daze, having a conversation with Patrick Awuah, founder and president of Ashesi University. We've talked a bit about free SHS. We talked a bit about the economy earlier. We're moving on to the Public Universities Bill, and then we'll touch briefly on the UEW impasse,
running from the sirens,
which is, some would say, is an example of interference in how a university is run.
But to put Africans on the
people are still coming back to say nothing can encourage you to pay tax after changing car parts every day.
To school.
People are very passionate about this. Okay, I have another message here. Daniel, the problem with education in the country is as a result of neglect of basic education by leaders of this nation, because their children attend private and international schools, I believe you want to say. It's really sad.
Out at lunchtime, going to crouching.
Barclays ABSA Group Limited has a lot in store for SMEs in Ghana. ABSA is interested in supporting African businesses, specifically SMEs. We help them grow by providing finance capacity building and finance literacy programs. We've supported over 140,000 SMEs and individuals across Africa. Welcome to ABSA Group Limited. ABSA, proudly serving you in Ghana as Barclays. Now, the Malcolm Big 30 sale is on. Walk into any Malcolm shop and you get up to 30% discount on thousands of items. Yedamwase for 30 years of support. Terms and conditions apply. Malcolm, where Ghana shops. The Ghana Investments Promotion Center is hosting its third edition of Young Entrepreneurs Forum at the Labadi Beach Hotel in Accra from 30th to 31st July 2019 at 8 a.m. The theme is Connect, Accelerate, Grow, Breaking Boundaries. This two-day event aims to provide leadership and entrepreneurship training, as well as facilitate access to resources, markets, and funding for over 500 young entrepreneurs under the age of 40 with the zeal to drive growth and create opportunities in their businesses. As part of the event, there will be masterclass sessions, mentorship sessions, exhibition and pitch sessions. To participate, register at gipcyef2019.eventbrite.com. To exhibit, call 0544 332086 or email event@gipc.gov.gh. This event is sponsored by Quick Angels Limited with Joy Business as media partner. GIPC Young Entrepreneurs Forum. Connect, accelerate, grow.
Wouldn't always be the most clever person.
Now, your text messages are brought to you by Afrodan, your back must last you a lifetime, and Glyco Critical Illness Plan GSIP. Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Even though we weren't cool when I saw them robbing Jason, I should have.
So we're talking earlier about the Public Universities Bill and how it gives, as some have said, it gives governments, being central governments, undue control over the university's management, because then the president appoints the majority of persons serving on the council. Is this a good idea?
Well, look, I have to tread with a bit of caution, right? Because I'm not at the public universities. I run a private university. So I will just share some more general thoughts, right? And let me start with how we do it at Ashesi. So in my case, we have two boards. We have a fundraising board, which is an international board, and then we have a local board that is more, supervising the president of the university. Now, that board doesn't have direct control of the day-to-day operations of the university. It doesn't have control over the academic council of the university. What it does have power over is the hiring and firing of the presidency and managing the performance of the president of the institution, right? So, and I say that to say that the governing board does not necessarily have control of issues to do with academic freedom, right? So academic freedom issues are really handled by the academic council, and the academic council is made up of, senior academics at the university and the president of the university. Okay, so. And I don't know what the structure is at the public university, so I can't comment directly on does the governing council of the university engage in matters to do with academics or not. Okay?
They do, to the extent that when with the UEW example, of course, every university has their law, creating law, but they are similar. And with the UEW example, for instance, questions were being raised that if the vice chancellor is being removed, then possibly the degrees that he awarded, his council awarded, must be nullified because they become, if he is being removed because he wasn't fit to be there, his appointment was not done well, then that means that even the degrees he awarded are not. So this affects even, this affects a lot of things.
So I guess we sort of have to define what academic freedom means, right? So the concept of academic freedom is that you want to have a structure where the core tenets of academia and scholarship is about, doing your work based on facts, on evidence, right? So you're going to do some research, you're going to get some data, you're going to publish that data, and you don't want external factors interfering with the facts and the evidence that academics have come up with. You don't want external factors interfering with philosophical debates about what ought to be. If somebody is a philosopher and they're expressing certain philosophical views, you don't want the vice chancellor or anybody else to be interfering with that. So that's sort of how I define academic freedom. Now, there's other things to do with the university that don't have really purely to do with academic freedom. So, for example, I'll give you something that's perhaps a gray area. Let's say the faculty want to start a new program, a new academic program in astronomy. Just pick a topic.
Okay.
And this program is going to cost, 100 million Ghana cedis to implement. Now, that is not purely an academic question, right? That is a question that has financial implications for the university.
Okay.
There are questions around organizational ability to execute. There's questions around whether this is a program that aligns with the mission of the institution or the priorities of the country, whether it's going to be transformative for the country. There are questions around whether it's financially feasible. And so the decision about whether to launch that new program should not be left only to the faculty. That is something that whoever funds that program must have an important say in. And so I would look at a question like that to be a question that has some academic component, but it's a big management question, right? There are other questions of things that you want to do where, again, you don't want the faculty alone deciding. You want student input. You want alumni input. You want input from the funders, whoever is funding it. You want input from parents who are going to be paying for it, etc. And so your governing council is the body that considers all of those different perspectives in making decisions, especially decisions that have implications on the finances of the organization, on the organizational capability, on the reputation of the organization.
So here's a case where you have, like I said, a fine blend of the range of the spectrum of decisions that are being taken by a council. But just stricto sensu, on the face of it, let's look at this. The president, by this new draft bill, if it's passed as it is, the president has the power to dissolve a university council. The unions appoint only one representative on a rotational system to serve on a council at each cycle. So all the unions come together and appoint one council. The university council appoints a chancellor. The president of Ghana will appoint 5 members out of the 9 that form the council. Is it tenable to give that much control to central government?
How much funding does central government provide?
Universities are semi-autonomous.
Okay. So, Daniel, we've all read the news about, when there's disturbances on university campuses, there are riots and so on, and you tune into the radio. Most of the comments that are critical about what's happening sort of blame the government. They blame the Minister of Finance, not the faculty. Maybe they'll blame the Vice Chancellor a little bit. If a university enters into a commercial agreement and that deal goes south, it fails, and now the university owns, tens of millions of dollars to some third-party entity, and it hits the news, it becomes a problem for the Ministry of Finance to find the funding to pay for that. An agreement that was made with the approval of the University Council, right? So when you have a situation like that, then the entity, in this case, the government, which is the one that everybody looks up to when things go wrong, suddenly has a greater interest in making sure that the decisions that are being made by that council reflect the needs of the government. You also look at how much funding comes from the government. So in our case, I'll give you, just going back to the case of Ashesi, because I don't really know all that's going on at the public universities. We have an external board that raises easily 95% plus of the funding that we need to get things done at Ashesi, right? So if we say we want to start a new engineering program, and that board disagrees, the engineering program is not going to happen, right? So we have to have the kind of relationship with that fundraising board, that source of funding, that they have a say when we're making big strategic decisions. So anytime we do our 10-year strategic plan, it is a joint project of the university board and the fundraising board, the board of trustees.
Okay.
And so,
it's not. You feel that they must have a say. They must have a say specifically.
Yes. So I think the government needs to have a say. I mean, the question of whether it's 5 people out of 9 or 4 people out of 9 or whatever, I think that's something to be negotiated between the government and the various stakeholders of the university. It's not something that I can comment on.
Okay. 19 minutes to the top of the hour here. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. I'll take my final batch of messages. When we come back, we'll look at this question about the kind of people that we raise in this country and the kind of leaders that we have produced as a country. Yeah. How are we being governed? How is ethics showing? Things like the honor code that Ashesi instituted. How is it playing out? And what must we do to see more of such ethical leadership amongst us as Ghanaians? We'll be right back to do with that final batch of questions, but your questions are also welcome on 0244-340-437. So far, I'm getting a lot of comments on what Patrick has been talking about. Daniel, free SHS is a sham. It's only designed to score political points. It will definitely compromise quality in 2020 results. It's killing the morale of GHS students who ideally prefer to learn and acquire some vocational and technical skills to work in Abosio kind. Okay. Only 20% of cash grants are sent to the school to be used. There are a number of things here. You end by saying things are going bad. All right. We'll take these messages when we come back. We'll hear more from Mr. Patrick Awuah.
No one likes the siren of the ambulance. But once in a while, there is a moment in our lives where we need help and pray silently for an angel. That is why the Call Angels came into being. To provide 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, round-the-clock ambulance cover for medical emergencies, domestic accidents, road traffic accidents, non-emergency transfers, and any medical condition where professional hand is needed to get a patient to the hospital. Download the Call Angels app for free from Google or Apple Store. You can also register for our value-added services by calling 18026 or *3330 or 0302-909746. For as little as 100 Ghana cedi, you can guarantee you and your family for up to 5 persons priority response in addition to a 30% discount on fares for your transport request. Sign up and get that peace of mind for you and your family. Call the Angels in that critical moment and we will be there. Kindly note that this service is currently available in the Greater Accra region only.
From importers to exporters, direct to indirect workers, you and I, the MPS Terminal 3 is great news to us all.
As a trader, doing business at the port has become easy. The machines are very modern and clearing goods has become very fast.
As a port worker, it is a great joy to be part of over 1,000 Ghanaians working here. This new facility means a lot to us.
As a cocoa farmer, I have more markets to export my products. The entire world can now taste my cocoa, bringing me and my family more income.
The MPS Terminal 3 is a game changer. MPS has invested in world-class equipment and technology to optimize efficiency of doing business at Tema Port. This means more jobs, development, and opportunities for our present and our future in Ghana. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
If you are an importer, this is the time to worry no more. Do you want to know how much customs duty is payable on your general goods and used vehicles? Are you wondering what stage your customs consignment is within the clearance chain at the ports? Are you seeking more information on your goods at the port? Here are all the answers to these questions if you are importing any item through the ports of Ghana. The Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is now live for you to calculate your customs duty for both general goods and used vehicles for free, and also track your customs consignment for free. Download the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app on Google Play Store for Android users and the App Store for Apple users. Ghana Trading Hub mobile app is now live. This is powered by the Paperless Ports Phase 2 project under the auspices of the Government of Ghana, West Blue Consulting, and the Ghana Revenue Authority. Smartport, improving Ghana's ease of doing business. At UBA, we pay close attention to your every detail, making you feel like a VIP every time you visit us. We have the strongest financial and technological background, making us #1 in risk management. We have offices in New York, Paris, and London, and presence in 20 countries across Africa. UBA has successfully operated in Ghana for almost 15 years, with 28 branches throughout the country. Visit us today at a branch near you. UBA, Africa's Global Bank.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
14 minutes, so we wrap up today's Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM.
So, you know what?
My name is Daniel Dazi. Thank you very much for staying with us from 5:50 a.m. till now.
If I was to go back to
my guest in studio, Patrick Awuah. Is it Dr. or Mr. Patrick Awuah? I'm getting questions.
You can just call me Patrick.
Oh, there has to be a title somewhere.
No, Patrick is fine. It works for me.
All right, thank you.
For my sacks.
What did you
So I wouldn't always be the most clever person amongst all.
And we have been talking to Patrick about education in Ghana. We started with the economy. We went through free SHS. We've talked about the public universities bill.
When I saw them robbing Jason, I should have had his back.
Just a few more issues to cover and then we'll move on.
Wouldn't have a tool in my rack.
But Afrodan is offering you today the most comfortable chair in the world. The Nightingale Extreme Comfort Chair. It has over 10 thoughtfully engineered features, especially customized for your health and comfort. Working has never had it this good. Go to Afrodan on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade and feel this chair. You'll be amazed. Call us on 0302 663 085. And the Glyco Travel Insurance Policy provides cover for medical emergency and hospitalization assistance, loss of passport, driving license or ID abroad, loss of checked-in baggage, travel of one immediate family member to the bedside of the insured, trip cancellation expenses, hijacking, and many more. So talk to us today on 0202 222 113 or 0555 305 547. Let's help you plan for a peaceful travel abroad. Glyco Travel Insurance. Cut the hustle, all the convenience. Glyco Life, we cushion you for life.
We had to be fighters and insight.
Kingdom Books and Stationery now offers a 30-day credits facility with no interest charge. We deliver free within Accra, Tema, and surrounding towns. Call us on 0302 764 101 or 762-307 or visit kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books is Stationery Limited, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, stationery and furniture.
Up my diet.
Eden Heights has 1 to 4 bedroom apartments and penthouses with the highest grade of finishing.
Rush.
Locate Eden Heights at West Hills, close to the beach resort along the Atlantic Ocean. About 30 minutes drive from the airport and 5 minutes walk from West Hills Mall. Eden Heights is the new destination for luxury. Visit us at edenheights.com.gh or email sales@edenheights.com.gh or call Mavis on 050-153-1444 or 050-153-1445 for more information. Eden Heights, welcome home. So let me go back to one of the messages that we were talking about when we saw the taxation issue, and there is the issue of, corrupt leaders, allegedly corrupt leaders, alleged misuse of funds, and what it means for our attitude as citizens. What's your take on how Ghana is being governed?
How Ghana is being governed?
Yes, governance in Ghana. Which direction are we headed in?
Well, I think that governance in Ghana is a work in progress, right? And there's, we're all very troubled when we read about corruption, when we read about misuse of funds, when we read about some of the things that the Auditor General reports, or that the Minister of Finance reports about judgment debts and so on, that clearly there's a lot that could be done better, right? I think that, a few years ago, if you remember, we had this major crisis in the country economically, and the then Vice President, late Emisa Arthur, convened a meeting at Senchi, where he invited people from across the spectrum of society, leadership from across the spectrum of society, to come and discuss the crisis that was confronting us and getting input and feedback.
Which you played a role in,
right? And then executed some of the recommendations there, which helped sort of settle the economy and stop the currency depreciation that was at a gallop at the time, helped get us to a more stable energy situation in the country. I think that's the example of really good governance, where the leadership is reaching out and getting input from across society, people who have clearly distinguished themselves in some way, who obviously have an interest in the success of the country, and who are willing to come and share in an open debate about what we ought to do and come up with some consensus of what we ought to do. I wish we'd have more of that, right? I really hope that the drive against corruption will be done in an energetic way, so that citizens have more confidence in the government, and citizens have more confidence that whatever taxes they contribute will be put for the public good, rather than squirreled away into people's bank accounts and this sort of thing. But it is a work in progress, and it's going to require all shoulders to the wheel to get it done.
Is this government moving quickly enough in fighting corruption?
I think setting up this special prosecutor's office was something that generated a lot of excitement in the country. And you need such an office to really go after the big untouchable people who might be engaged in corruption. But you also need a more diffuse system that is going, because corruption is not only happening at the highest levels. There's all kinds of things going on at lower levels, and you need an Attorney General's office and all the other IOCO and Sharaj and all of those other organizations need to be strengthened to execute their mandate, so that we can actually get a handle on this problem.
Right. We just have just a few minutes to finish off today's conversation. So I'd like to thank you so much and ask finally, because since we have you here, in the University of Education, whenever the controversy has come about the tale of two vice chancellors, where one vice chancellor walks in one day and says that, look, I'm coming back because I was under investigation, I have been cleared, I have a court order that restrains you from holding yourself as vice chancellor. And the education minister just responds by saying that if you want to take back your position, you have to do so through the legal means. You can't just walk into the university. What would be the best way to resolve such an issue?
I haven't looked closely at that issue. I don't feel qualified to comment on it, other than, I've read the headlines and the summaries of what's going on. It seems very messy to me, and it's a bit unbelievable to me that things would devolve to the situation that it is now. So obviously needs a lot of attention. And again, I would urge that, all the parties involved are, really working with the best interests of students in mind first. I think we very quickly get into a place where we're thinking about vice chancellors and boards and so on, and we forget about what's best for the students. And so, really the focus should be on what is best for the students and make the decisions that work in the best interest of the students.
If there was one person who you would encourage to show leadership and lead the process of resolving this matter, who would you point to? Or one body?
It's hard to name one person, but I think that obviously there's a lot of egos involved, and people need to sort of check their egos at the door and get into a frank conversation. And the situation has gotten really messy. I'm not sure how they resolve it from this, but I think that the two vice chancellors involved should be talking with each other, and they should be talking about what is best for students, what is best for this institution, what is best for the country. Because you can't have a situation where two people are holding a whole university hostage. It's pretty incredible to me that this is happening.
Wow. Patrick, well, thank you very much today for spending your morning with us and for sharing your thoughts with us.
You're welcome, and thanks for the invitation.
All right.
Only the king, you know it. King already.
So I don't expect Patrick to know this song well.
You know it.
But it's...
You know it?
You say?
I know it.
You know it, eh? Beyonce featuring Shatta Wale. It means so much for our music industry, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's on here.
He's pointing at his phone.
King, you know it. King already.
You're one of the few guests who has made my social media executive, Dennis, excited.
It's time already. A line already. It's time already.
And this is how we end today's show on Joy 99.7 FM. I want to say you are king already. Amasa Blankson, NDH Media Consult, Biba Benjamin, Fifi Otiba, Three Papers Entertainment. These are our biggest tweeters today. Amasa Blankson's Fifi Otiba. There's also Kofi Fosu Jr. Thank you very much for the work that, well, for supporting us on social media, because you don't have to. But this has been the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. You want to stay with us on your super dial because we'll be taking you to Parliament, where Ken Oforiatta, the Finance Minister, will be presenting the mid-year review of the 2019 budget. The news at the top of the hour will come off though, and then we'll be taking you to Parliament. Have yourself a super day. My name is Daniel Daze.
The king, you a king, you know it. King already, my baby, you know it.